We may have moved past balls and high tea, but in a lot of ways, we still face the same social challenges as 18th century Britain. Where do we fit in? And how do we play the game of love without losing ourselves? Welcome back to Alston Stories audiobook-style read-along and analysis. Last week in the prologue, we read about the Duke's troubling past. This week, in Chapter 1, we get a window into the mind of our heroine, Daphne Bridgerton.
The Bridgertons are by far the most prolific family in the upper echelons of society. Such industriousness on the part of the Viscountess and the late Viscount is commendable, although one can find only banality in their choice of names for their children. Anthony, Benedict, Colin, Daphne, Eloise, Francesca, Gregory, and Hyacinth. Orderliness is of course beneficial in all things, but one would think that intelligent parents would be able to keep their children straight without needing to alphabetize their names. Furthermore, the sight of the Viscountess and all 8 of her children in one room is enough to make one fear one is seeing double, or triple, or worse. Never has this author seen a collection of siblings so ludicrously alike in their physical regard. Although this author has never taken the time to record eye color, all 8 possess similar bone structure and the same thick, chestnut hair. One must pity the Viscountess as she seeks advantageous marriages for her brood, that she did not produce a single child of more fashionable coloring. Still, there are advantages to a family of such consistent looks. There can be no doubt that all 8 are of legitimate parentage. Ah, gentle reader, your devoted author wishes that that were the case amid all large families. Lady Whistledown Society Papers, 26 April, 1813. Oh, Violet Bridgerton crumpled the single-page newspaper into a ball and hurled it across the elegant drawing room. Her daughter Daphne wisely made no comment and pretended to be engrossed in her embroidery. "Did you read what she said?" Violet demanded. "Did you?" Daphne eyed the ball of paper, which now rested under a mahogany end table. "I didn't have the opportunity before you, finished with it." "Read it then," Violet wailed, her arms slicing dramatically through the air. "Read how that woman has maligned us." Daphne calmly set down her embroidery and reached under the end table. She smoothed the sheet of paper out on her lap and read the paragraph about her family. Blinking, she looked up. "This isn't so bad, Mother. In fact, it's a veritable benediction compared to what she wrote about the Featheringtons last week. How am I supposed to find you a husband while that woman is slandering your name?" Daphne forced herself to exhale. After nearly 2 seasons in London, the mere mention of the word husband was enough to set her temples pounding. She wanted to marry, truly she did, and she wasn't even holding out for a true love match. But was it really too much to hope for a husband for whom one had at least some affection? Thus far, 4 men had asked for her hand, but when Daphne had thought about living the rest of her days in the company of any of them, she just couldn't do it. There were a number of men she thought might make reasonably good husbands, but the problem was, none of them was interested. Oh, they all liked her. Everyone liked her. Everyone thought she was funny and kind and a quick wit, and no one thought her the least bit unattractive. But at the same time, no one was dazzled by her beauty, stunned into speechlessness by her presence, or moved to write poetry in her honor. Men, she thought with disgust, were interested only in those women who terrified them. No one seemed inclined to court someone like her. They all adored her, or so they said, because she was so easy to talk to, and she always seemed to understand how a man felt. As one of the men Daphne had thought might make a reasonably good husband had said, "Deuce take it, Daph, you're just not like regular females, you're positively normal," which she might have managed to consider a compliment if he hadn't proceeded to wander off in search of the latest blonde beauty.
Let's pause here, because Daphne points out one of the most significant keys to unlocking the mystery that is love. She says men only chase after women who terrified them. And she's right. Fear is a huge factor in whether someone seeks you out or sticks around. They're either afraid you'll say no, afraid to take the next step, or afraid to lose you. That's why attempting to be their every heart's desire never works. No one works hard for what they already have or can easily get. Case in point, everybody liked her, but no one tried to date her. Because she's easy. Who plays a game on easy, besides children and the severely inept? Daphne's game never truly started until her 2nd season. And her heart knew the way before her mind could catch up. Because who in the world of Bridgerton was ever more difficult, demanding, and darn near dubious than the Duke of Hastings?
Daphne looked down and noticed that her hand was clenched into a fist. Then she looked up and realized her mother was staring at her, clearly waiting for her to say something. Since she had already exhaled, Daphne cleared her throat and said, "I'm sure Lady Whistledown's little column is not going to hurt my chances for a husband. Daphne, it's been 2 years, and Lady Whistledown has only been publishing for 3 months, so I hardly see how we can lay the blame at her door." "I'll lay the blame wherever I choose," Violet muttered. Daphne's fingernails bit her palms as she willed herself not to make a retort. She knew her mother had only her best interests at heart. She knew her mother loved her, and she loved her mother too. In fact, until Daphne had reached marriageable age, Violet had been positively the best of mothers. She still was, when she wasn't despairing over the fact that after Daphne, she had 3 more daughters to marry off. Violet pressed a delicate hand to her chest. "She cast aspersions on your parentage." "No," Daphne said slowly. It was always wise to proceed with caution when contradicting her mother. "Actually, what she said was that there could be no doubt that we are all legitimate, which is more than one can say for most large families of the ton." "She shouldn't have even brought it up," Violet sniffed. "Mother, she's the author of a scandal sheet. It's her job to bring such things up." "She isn't even a real person," Violet added angrily. She planted her hands on her slim hips, then changed her mind and shook her finger in the air. "Whistledown, ha! I've never heard of any Whistledowns. Whoever this depraved woman is, I doubt she's one of us. As if anyone of breeding would write such wicked lies." "Of course she's one of us," Daphne said, her brown eyes filling with amusement. "If she weren't a member of the ton, there is no way she'd be privy to the sort of news she reports. Did you think she was some sort of imposter, peeking in windows and listening at doors?" "I don't like your tone, Daphne Bridgerton," Violet said, her eyes narrowing. Daphne bit back another smile. "I don't like your tone," was Violet's standard answer when one of her children was winning an argument. But it was too much fun to tease her mother. "I wouldn't be surprised," she said, cocking her head to the side, "if Lady Whistledown was one of your friends." "Bite your tongue, Daphne. No friend of mine would ever stoop so low." "Very well," Daphne allowed. "It's probably not one of your friends, but I'm certain it's someone we know. No interloper could ever obtain the information she reports." Violet crossed her arms. "I should like to put her out of business once and for all." "If you wish to put her out of business," Daphne could not resist pointing out, "you shouldn't support her by buying her newspaper. Everyone else is reading it. My puny little embargo would do nothing except make me look ignorant when everyone else is chuckling over her latest gossip." That much was true, Daphne silently agreed. Fashionable London was positively addicted to Lady Whistledown's society papers. The mysterious newspaper had arrived on the doorstep of every member of the ton 3 months earlier. For 2 weeks it was delivered unbidden, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then, on the 3rd Monday, butlers across London waited in vain for the pack of paper boys who normally delivered Whistledown, only to discover that instead of free delivery, they were selling the gossip sheet for the outrageous price of 5 pennies a paper.
That's a wrap. I must say, Julia Quinn has some really quick wit. I laughed so hard at some parts, and others were oh so relatable. Do you agree with my definition of finding love? Or has something else worked well for you? Share your tips in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. The book is linked in the description if you want your own copy.